can't count on anyone, especially your heroes.
Welcome to ScreenCrush. I'm Ryan Airy. The Fantastic Four are one of the most important super teams of all time. They were the foundation of the Marvel Universe, and their comics are filled with humor, character drama, and sci-fi adventure fun. And there's only been one great Fantastic Four movie, The Incredibles. I mean, not really, but the Parr family in The Incredibles shares a lot of characteristics with the FF. And that movie is filled with humor, character drama, and sci-fi adventure fun. So I'd like to compare The Incredibles to the latest Fantastic Four film, FANT4STIC, and study one scene that shows why one was this.
Whoa! That was so cool!
And the other was this.
Instead of listening to what people want, you're telling them what they want.
But first, let's talk about the similarities between The Incredibles and FANT4STIC. Both movies feature a family of superheroes. The members have super strength, super stretchiness, and another has the ability to turn invisible and create force fields, and there's another that's super hot-headed. These families butt heads a lot of the time, as families often do.
I can't believe you don't want to go to your own son's graduation.
It's not a graduation. He is moving from the 4th grade to the 5th grade.
It's a ceremony.
It's psychotic.
One of the main characters gets jealous when another person starts flirting with their love interest. Two extremely narcissistic villains don't have powers for the majority of the movie. They feel wronged by the leader of these teams in some way and aim to take revenge on them. The superheroes face government interference, whether it be the Superhero Registration Act in The Incredibles or the government using the Four as weapons in FANT4STIC. Some of our main characters are on the run, either hiding from the government or the bad guys' henchmen. The teams even share similar naming conventions such as Mr. Incredible and Mr. Fantastic. And of course, the teams have to put aside their differences and come together at the end to take down the big bad. Now, it's not surprising these franchises are so similar, because The Incredibles was partly based on the Fantastic Four. But then, why did it take a Pixar movie to get the Fantastic Four right? Where did The Incredibles succeed that FANT4STIC went so wrong? So let's look at two scenes that are similar so we can use these as a point of comparison. And those scenes are the final battles. The Incredibles features a breathtaking action scene and the culmination of the family drama that we've seen throughout the film. So just to recap, the Parr family journeys to a remote island to save Bob from the clutches of Syndrome. Syndrome plans to use his technology worldwide so that everyone is special and no one feels left out like he did as a kid.
And when everyone's super, no one will be.
Now, we argued the merits of his exceptionalism versus collectivism in another video. He plans to introduce the world to this technology by unleashing a robot that he created and then defeating it publicly, saving the city and becoming a hero.
I'll be a bigger hero than you ever were.
Unfortunately, the technology malfunctions and he gets knocked out. The robot runs rampant and the Parr family has to stop it. The stakes are clear. The robot is threatening the city, but it's also, most importantly, threatening the family that we've come to love. The danger is underscored by Bob's speech at the start of the battle.
I can't lose you again! I'm not strong enough.
The movie establishes the Parrs as a relatable family. The kids bicker.
Well, you are.
I said, shut up, you little insect.
Parents fight.
I said I'd be back later.
I assumed you'd be back later. If you came back at all, you'd be back later.
And the dad works a dead-end job and also sneaks off to talk about the good old boys with his buddy.
Whoa, whoa. Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
In the scenes leading up to the fight, the normal family dynamic is reinforced when Bob and Elastigirl fight about how to get to the fight.
Great! We missed it!
You asked me how to get there and I told you. Exit attraction.
That'll take me downtown!
All of this makes them more relatable to the audience. But also, it makes the final battle even more rewarding when they're finally able to work together and direct their hostility where it belongs, against an evil, city-destroying robot.
Yep, here's your problem. Someone set this thing to evil.
The kids are initially tucked away, but after the Winnebago is destroyed, they have no place to hide. Everyone is in this together.
If we work together, you won't have to be.
The scene symbolizes family and togetherness and is the culmination of all the family drama that we've seen thus far. Each member of The Incredibles serves a conventional role within the family. The dad is the rock of the family and is strong. The mom is flexible and does many things at once. The teenage girl feels invisible, and the young boys are bursting with energy. Dash and Violet fight all the time.
We're going to find him in the future, Doc. It's not my fault.
But one of the first scenes we see in the final battle is Violet saving Dash and her brother's concern for her.
Violet?
Elastigirl saves her kids and she tells them,
Stay here, okay?
This aligns with what we saw from her character in the rest of the movie, where she's always prioritizing protecting her kids. You see the father and son playing catch in this scene.
Throw it! Throw it!
Now this is a great payoff for the audience because we see Bob supporting Dash using his powers earlier in the movie, and it's a great representation of how the father and son duo bond over these superpowers.
You must have been booking. How fast do you think you were going?
There's even a shot of the family fighting over a remote,
That wasn't right. Give me that.
which is a classic trope.
Get the remote!
The Incredibles uses superpowers as a vessel to tell a story about a family. It's much more focused on the family drama than the superhero action film. As you can see, this final battle builds really well off what we've been shown up to this point. Because of this, it feels like a satisfying conclusion. And it also works great as an action scene, with the heroes using their powers in creative ways to beat the robot. The iconic music adds to the anticipation and excitement, while the bright animation allows us to see all the action through smooth takes. Now, if this were live action and a lesser movie, we might have gotten a shaky cam and lots of cuts to hide stunt work. But here, the character movements are crisp and clear. The robot is also beaten in a very smart, satisfying way. Mr. Incredible remembers that the robots can destroy themselves.
The only thing hard enough to penetrate it is itself.
Just as Syndrome was destroyed by his own arrogance. Finally, the city celebrates the hero's victory.
And I love you, random citizen.
At this point, the Pars have earned this cathartic moment. They've spent the entire movie hiding their abilities from the world, and now, finally, they can show who they really are. This scene showcases how the family is stronger together, and it's a satisfying climax. It's also good, clean fun, and reminds us of the spirit from the Fantastic Four comic books. But imagine if, instead of building up to this fight with character development and a fully realized set of relationships, the superheroes got together because a guy in a suit told them to, and then they started fighting a villain that was 15 minutes old. That's exactly what happens in FANT4STIC. Let's face it, no one remembers this movie. It spends more time setting up a franchise than it does telling a story, but here's the basic plot details that you might have forgotten. This won't take long. Reed Richards and Ben Grimm invent a dimensional portal for a science fair project, and they're recruited by Dr. Franklin Storm to work at his think tank. Storm wants to use this interdimensional portal to bring resources that can be used on Earth. This initiative was actually started by his protege, Victor Von Doom, who also has a thing for Storm's daughter, Sue. Reed, Ben, Victor, Sue, and Storm's son, Johnny, all build a bigger version of this portal, name it the Quantum Gate, and then Victor gets jealous when Reed flirts with Sue. The bosses say the astronauts are going to be the first to go through the portal, so the kids get upset and sneak through the Quantum Gate first.
We can take a flag, plant it down, get our footprints down, and we're going to be the first people over there, okay? Screw those guys.
They arrive on a planet that's super unstable and filled with a metric buttload of radiation. They barely escape, but Victor is left behind.
A good soldier never leaves a man behind.
Sue gets blasted with radiation. Now everybody's got superpowers. The government's holding them prisoner to study their abilities. Reed escapes. There's 1 year time jump. Reed returns to help build the Quantum Gate again, and God, this movie's bad. They reopen the gate and they find Victor Von Doom, now fused with his spacesuit, and he's got magic powers. They bring Doom back to Earth, setting up the key scene, the final battle. This final battle consists of a skybeam and special effects straight out of a high school news show. Now, unlike the Parr family, these heroes don't come together because they care about each other or doing good. They're here because a higher authority made them come together. The government. Because the heroes are glorified soldiers working for the Pentagon, their bonds feel phony. They're just going through the motions, like a couple who's staying together for the kids.
I can't believe I have to know you forever!
Oh, you're fucking insane!
Dr. Doom is my all-time favorite comic book villain. He's got his own badass castle. He rules a country. He's a super genius with an army of robots. He's first alternate to being the Sorcerer Supreme, and best of all, he believes that he would make the world a better place if only he had a chance to rule it with an iron fist. Everything about him is iconic. So how in the hell did we get this?
Go, go, Power Rangers!
Remember how Syndrome had clear motivations that the audience could understand, even relate to?
This is because I don't have powers, isn't it? Well, not every superhero has powers, you know.
Here, Doom wakes up and wants to go back to his dead planet and destroy the Earth because... reasons.
Go, go, Power Rangers!
The movie doesn't even attempt to show us why he wants to destroy Earth, outside of Doom saying,
"If this world must die, so that mine may live, so be it."
And that's it. That's his whole reason for destroying the cradle of human life in the universe. He says that
That place kept me alive, gave me strength, power.
And now he's feeling a little homesick.
I wanna go home.
Doom Darth Vader's his way through the lab and goes through the portal. The Fantastic Four follow, hoping to talk him out of destroying Earth. But the problem is we've never gotten this vibe from Victor before. This is not tied to his character. He's an incel environmentalist, yeah, but he's not a mass murderer.
So I gotta say, it's pretty impressive.
Thank you.
That you nearly destroyed an entire planet with speaker cable and aluminum foil.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
The Earth is dying. Humanity had its chance.
Because we didn't see his psychotic break, we don't understand his motivations, and the whole scene is boring. Now, to clarify what the actual threat is, Reed has to constantly tell the team and the audience what's happening.
He's overloading the system to create a runaway reaction. It's not gonna stop. It'll create a black hole that'll swallow the Earth. The matter from Earth is being converted to energy. It's pulling everything into the other dimension.
Miles Teller, indeed. We're supposed to care that Doom is destroying the world with the Skybeam, but honestly, Doom winning would have been a lot more interesting than the movie that we actually got. We don't even see the Earth at risk because the entire fight takes place on an entirely different planet. I mean, we do see this CGI shot of some cars and trees getting sucked into a Skybeam, and all that stock footage of people running away. But generally, threatening the destruction of the Earth when we can't see the Earth is a terrible way to build tension. Imagine if Doom, say, built his little Skybeam in Manhattan, where we'd see lots of innocent bystanders in danger. Maybe even characters we've met before. But unlike The Incredibles, we don't even care about the heroes getting hurt because we've barely seen them do anything in the movie. Reed disappeared for a year, comes back, and the rest of them are just training with the government. There's no, what is the word? Emotions. Up until now, these heroes have been isolated from each other.
Please, help me, Reed.
And in the brief time they do interact, they're like husks, pretending to be people, reciting dialogue like teenagers forced to read out loud in class.
So you like music? Is that kind of like your thing?
Pattern recognition?
Pattern recognition.
The Fantastic Four try to beat up Doom, but the villain wins by throwing rocks. By the way, we just saw him do this. But yeah, throw rocks.
Daddy needs to get his rocks off.
But this scene does showcase the movie's visual effects, which are terrible. The team regroups and has a BS pep talk.
He's stronger than any of us.
Yeah, he is. But he's not stronger than all of us.
That's supposed to represent them coming together. But like I mentioned before, the characters have been isolated from each other for basically the entire movie. We've spent so little time with them that this whole scene comes off more forced than a Dennis Miller reference. Doom is finally defeated when he decides to stop choking Reed and wait patiently for the Thing to punch him. Yes, this dude who we just saw force choking people to death gets taken down with one punch. That's a less satisfying ending than The Rise of Skywalker. What is even happening here? None of this is ever explained. How did this movie get made? So what could FANT4STIC have done differently to make the scene better? Redeeming this movie is a pretty tall task and would probably take an entirely separate video on its own. But if I could say one thing, it would be that 1 year time jump before the final battle. It really kills the film's momentum.
I'm gonna need 10 minutes.
In the movie, after the team visits the alien planet for the first time and leaves Dr. Doom behind, we cut to a year in the future for some reason where we see Reed on the run and the other three are working for the government. Instead of this awkward and pointless time jump, the movie should have shown us the aftermath of the experiment. The team discovering their powers, being afraid of them, learning about them, and most importantly, bonding over this experience. Showing the heroes go through adversity together would have added a team dynamic that's missing from the actual movie. We could have also seen Victor's descent into madness. Maybe the other planet talks to him like it's his best friend that he's never had on Earth.
I love you, Victor. You complete me.
I love you too, Talking Planet. Hopefully, we get a better realized version of the Fantastic Four now that Marvel finally has the rights to do it again, and John Watts, director of the MCU Spider-Man movies, is slated to be at the helm. I just hope the effects will be better than this. Well, that's just my opinion. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below or at me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.